Alright, hi there everyone. This is a recording and also thanks to getting a new laptop and Aero suggesting a live game. So we're going to do a double header, just a friendly, +2 random. We won't take 90 minutes a game, we'll try for 60 per person. So streaming and then recording and then uploading. And I'm USA to start. Looks like Aero's still coming online. So I will. Thanks, Chop Chuck. Best or luck? Let's take luck, shall we? So I'll bounce between my OBS feed, which seems to have chat going in, which is good, because I'll be using the web page for tracking cards, and I'll mostly be in the game module as well. So hopefully you can confirm you can hear me. That's a good start. Feel free to chat, and I promise to pick it up. Basically, when I'm not taking a turn, I'll sit in the studio and see what the chat is, and we'll go from there. So let's plug in my cards. 10-minute delay, sweet. I'm like 5 seconds, I think. So, yeah, let's plug in my cards. Let's quit rambling. It's not really a good hand to headline containment with so many scoring cards. But we have got a good target to ditch to blockade if it comes. And we'll obviously try and get Fidel out before CIA. And we've got NASA, so barring some good cooing, we may be okay in the Middle East. But I think we'll try pressing for Europe. And try not to drop Asia for domination. If we do both those things, we're laughing. So what's my last card that I've not added from my hand? Containment? Yeah, so let's plug that into the... So plan for turn 1. In the absence of a better headline, we could gamble on Asia scoring, but of course all it takes is decol or Vietnam revolts to that end up being scored for domination. We want to try and hold Europe, because obviously without socialist governments, Italy's going to be a harder coup for them. And then we pump France in the hopes of scoring Europe for domination. So I'm going to gamble on Asia scoring. Never headline a scoring card, they say, especially not live. But there you go. Break all the rules. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. So since we are twitching, I'll leave the chat window open while he's talking, but I'll keep dropping it so we don't lose most of the screen. So yes, for those watching post-live on YouTube, there may be comments, and I will do my best to respond to them as quickly as possible. But you know, Q&A is fine, and it might make for a more interesting thing. Yeah, I think we're both number 7 seed. Battle of the number 7 seeds. That's just what you want to watch live, eh? Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in. If that is what you want to do with your Saturday, we're the ones playing, I guess. So that's cool. So, I mean, I'm assuming he'll open 4-4-1 in Yugoslavia or Austria. We shall see. So we'll open 4-4-2, not 4-3-3 because we're holding Europe scoring. 4-4-2 is good. And then after the exchange of hostilities, if we can press for Europe domination, we will, because we wanna try and score that. So we're going to take a big old gamble on Asia scoring. Start the game right. Okay, 4-4-2. No, not 5. Dang it. Sorry, this is a new laptop, which is why I can actually stream without drop frames and stuff. But my touchpad sensitivity is still leaving something to be desired. So 4-4-2, we're going to gamble on Asia scoring. Pray no Vietnam revolts. If he's holding defectors, we may even get decol. So this is the first of what might be many gambles. So yeah, Aero has systematically dismantled me in just about every league game we've played. And friendly, but what the hey. It's good for a lark. So yes, I have dropped that. We are praying not to see Vietnam revolts or decol. Or D-style, but that seems very likely. We're only in serious trouble here if he's holding defectors, and he knows I don't hold it. And then because then a decol headline is likely. At the moment, if he's not holding defectors, the only bad headline truly is Vietnam revolts. But we shall see. Suez to clear me out the Middle East if he's holding Middle East scoring. And that then sets me back in Europe for Europe scoring. But I'm hoping if he's holding Middle East scoring, the coup will be on Iran. Thinking hard, talking through his opening hand. So I suppose I should do the same for the favour of those watching live or post-live. So the plan is counter coup on Iran, containment into France for domination ideally, try and score Europe for domination, try and avoid getting cleaned out the Middle East, and yeah, prey on the headline. Cambridge 5 after Europe scoring, Fidel before DEFCON is 2 to make sure there's a CIA target, and we'll be likely to hold NASA here. If we're not blockaded AR6, obviously. If we're blockaded AR6, we'll do socialist governments. Alright, well, we dodged our first bullet. But will he win the 50-50? He does. So now Asia is Middle East is a risk. So I expect to see a coup on Iran here. And we'll use Red Scare to counter coup. The worst case scenario actually is getting cleaned out. That's good. We'll put 1 back in Iran and 3 into France. So the Warsaw Pact coup suggests a lack of ops. So we'll see how he responds here. A straight de Gaulle event I can repair with containment, but then we start to run into dodgy ground. He may just try a second coup on Iran. So what do I need to do? With Asia scoring gone, I still want to play into Malaysia, ideally. To try and get to Thailand first. I won't be getting off to space before him unless blockade doesn't come out. If blockade doesn't come out, I space socialist government's AR6. What I'm really hoping for is another flubbed coup on Iran here. In which case I might use Fidel to push into Iraq and Malaysia. The pumping France instead of moving into Malaysia AR1 is a bit of a telegraph. I'd expect him to pick up on the fact, but I'm hoping he might be thinking, well, Asia's scored, so he's cantering. So we'll see what he does here. So again, a repeat coup. Yep. Don't get cleaned out, ideally. Okay, that's fine. So we've got a counter coup option there. We're going to use Fidel to coup on Iran, get our mill ops, and we're hoping for a 1 in 2 chance of retaining influence. We get there. That's good news for us. In terms of the exchange, that's ideal. So now, the worst card now is Decol, because obviously Thailand is lost. But I can at least repair De Gaulle with containment. If he plays into Afghanistan, I'll probably wave Pakistan over dropping Europe for domination. Yeah, there's Decol. So that's a bummer. But, I mean, after that exchange, it's kind of more or less to be expected. So we are going to drop Europe for domination. Because that then gives us tempo. And we'll also be able to move into Pakistan before India. We'll probably use the Cambridge 5. If he uses the China card to flip Pakistan, that's his problem, especially with Asia scored. It's a shame to see Decol go out so quick. D-Style's less of an issue just now because ops are so thin on the ground. There's Finland, and that's about it. So he gets off to space first, and gets there. That's another bummer for us. But it is what it is. We are going to use the Cambridge 5 to press into Malaysia and Pakistan, because then he's forced to take India. I've shown out that I don't have Middle East scoring this turn, but I can live with that. So here, the issue is you can't take Thailand and India without a 4-op card, which he clearly doesn't have from the opening coup exchange. Will he use the China card to take India and Thailand? In which case that's fine, and Pakistan's more comfortable. We'd also like to overprotect France against De Gaulle later on, for later on. But I should probably be dropping an op in Iraq as well, because again, a good coup in Iran gets me cleaned out before Middle East scoring drops. So I've got a lot I want to do with very few ops. What I really need to do, I guess, is... Yeah, so takes Thailand and pushes 1 in India. Yeah, that's a good play. So we're going to use our containment. We're going to take Pakistan and move into Iraq. Do we overprotect Pakistan against the China card? No, because we can then use it to retake Thailand, and it's already scored. We'll drop 1 in Costa Rica as well, rather than overprotect France for now. Yeah, that'll do. And I accidentally misclicked commit before I wanted to commit anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. Right, so AR6, if I get blockaded, I have to event NASA, which is a bummer. If I don't get blockaded, I'll be spacing socialist governments. So I'm hoping to get, assuming I don't get blockaded here, I'm hoping to get Middle East scoring and de Gaulle in my hand, as well as potentially defectors. Any of those would be good. Feel free to ask any questions. I may already have started playing suboptimally. I like getting the op in Costa Rica as soon as possible. I was punished for not getting... So overprotect, presence, yeah. So he's splashing around in exchange for effectively giving up on Europe. We'll overprotect Italy. 1 in Greece, 1 in Turkey. Okay, so we space to finish the turn. We don't get there. We don't get de Gaulle. We don't get Middle East scoring. But we do get D-Star, which is nice. Although, to be fair, if we get blockaded, we'll have to give it up anyway. Alright, let's plug in a hand. That goes off to space. Marshall Plan's been dropped. I got US-Japan defectors. Picked up Comic-Con, Vietnam, D-Style, Suez. I think, even though he might be savvy, he knows there's a 50-50 chance I'm holding defectors, so he may headline Middle East scoring. Olympic Games, my last card. If he headlines Middle East scoring, that's very savvy play on his part. Olympic Games is risky because he may headline duck and cover. Unlikely. The reason to headline defectors is that getting de Gaulle or Indo-Pakistani ward in the headline phase still sucks. And I'd rather avoid it. Vietnam Revolts will be our AR6 play, assuming we don't get blockaded. So I think we're going to go defectors. If he headlines... Oh, he's less likely to headline Middle East scoring because he's got presence anyway. So we'll go defectors. Oh, well, we keep Truman in the deck, which is nice. So I expect to see an Iran coup, to which we can respond, obviously, by playing into Iraq, Saudi, Jordan. The best combination might be Iraq and Jordan to begin the walk back to Israel. Ah, nice. CIA out the deck. That's a bummer. Has got Middle East. Special ship, nuclear test ban. NORAD duck and cover Korean War. Six cards, yep. Did he play an op before? Zaire, yeah, cool. Okay. So, do we want the coup on Zaire with the one-op card, or do we... Because we then end up waiving a mill-op when he plays Korean War. What does a coup on Syria do? 1 in 3 chance of cleaning it out. Not a lot. 1 in 6 chance of missing entirely. 2 out of 3 chance of getting influence in. So how about we play an op into Jordan, then coup with Olympic Games. He's got a space duck and cover. If he gets off to space, he'll then space NORAD as well. He's got a lot of ops. Now we'll take the coup and we'll make him event Korean War. That turned out to be a bit more sizable than expected. So I would expect to see 2 in Egypt and 2 in Iraq or Saudi. Or he may event Korean War immediately. So I would expect to see something like 2 in Egypt. Well, maybe not Egypt if he knows NASA might come out. I don't need to worry about blockade this turn, right? So we know D-Style's not coming out. But I may have to event NASA. I might do that after Middle East scoring has dropped. So Indo-Pakistan War's not coming out this turn either. We kind of want him to trigger a Korean War and fail. He may not get a better chance, and it's the only way he's getting mil-ops this turn. So he might be sucked into playing that. Hopefully everything's still broadcasting okay. It looks to be. And I can tell you the exact delay. It's about 10 seconds. So I'll be able to talk if you've got a question about a turn. I'm not going to be hammering through the plays, I hope. So Aero's got a number of things to think about, which is, am I likely to get Middle East scoring for domination knowing I have space duck and cover? Probably not. And probably NORAD. So maybe I'll drop Middle East scoring now for -1. Oh no, okay. Egypt, fine. And overprotect Iraq, interesting. So we will drop 1 in France because we're not scaring him off. So we'll keep some pressure up in the Middle East here. What we're basically saying is, I'm going to try and fight you pound for pound. I can also pop 1 in Lebanon to try and keep country count down. And we know he's got 4 ops, so he might just go Iraq, Egypt. Then it comes a bit of a country count race. But I'm just following the basic precepts for the USA in early war, which is, don't be dominated. Try and get domination if you can. Get to mid-war, -5 or better, and ideally have them not having developed into South America and Africa. Now, obviously, decal's already dropped once. Africa's already a thing. But let's see what else we got. So I expect to see what? Maybe Iraq? Yeah. And one in Egypt. Oh, one in Libya, okay. So we'll now play one into Lebanon, two into Saudi, and one into Israel. And what we're saying is, you're not going to get domination here based on country count. Especially not with NORAD and Duck and Cover still in the deck. So I would expect him here to use either NORAD, filling NORAD, and then I fill calendar, using NORAD to cover, or using Korean War and foregoing the war. If he events NORAD, you can bet your backside I'm dropping another op in Canada, because it will wreak havoc in Iraq and South Korea, for starters. If he's conservative, he'll use Korean War and put one in Libya and one in Egypt. Although he only needs a single op to level up, because I'm 2 battlegrounds. He does use NORAD. Interesting. Okay. Now Egypt's full. I will use NASA to pop an op in Canada. If he uses the China card here, I'll use Vietnam Revolts to break it. But I expect he'll drop Middle East scoring now for 1. Yep. So we'll space Suez. We get there. And then he events Korean War for Milops. And if he fails, we'll use Vietnam Revolts to go over the top in South Korea. If he's very cautious, he will pop Duck and Cover off to space. But he'll be giving up 2 Milops to do it. But there's part of him that thinks, do I take South Korea with Korean War and give up the Milops? Do I event it for the Milops and run the risk of getting overrun? Or do I space... I mean, I wouldn't be spacing Duck and Cover if I were him, because you want to take it past the reshuffle. Chuck, sorry, right. Why not Lebanon instead of second in Jordan? Camp David's a long way away. No problem. Oh, I see what you mean. On an earlier AR, I filled Jordan instead of moving to Lebanon. I definitely should have moved into Lebanon sooner. Glad I wasn't punished for it. So yes, thank you. Good spot. I should have moved in sooner, because one of the ARs I filled Jordan first, didn't I? Yeah, AR2. So you're right. I should have moved into Lebanon first. That was a rookie error. There'll be more of those. No doubt. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Right, so he ends up... he'll take South Korea with it and concede the Milops. Now I can't, because Vietnam's going to drop one in Vietnam, I can't deny domination. Because of that, I might do other stuff with it. I'll put one in Thailand in order to use NORAD after the initial coup, because that will dissuade a coup. So Korean War drops, Vietnam is removed, We re-add the discards after we've done deal. I got de Gaulle. I got decol and blockade. That's nice. So decol goes off to space, and blockade destull as long as I don't get purged. And I got Indo-Pakistani War, which is a great card for me to get. Indo-Pak, Formosa. No, I got those. Let's just switch that over. Indo-Pak, Formosa. Unfortunately, he got you an intervention in NATO. So he'll have a free 4-op coup on something. Re-add the discards. And in the reshuffle I got Nuclear Test Ban Cambridge 5 and Decol. So we don't know anything about scoring cards. We know he's got Duck and Cover. Captured Nazi, not worth playing right now on the second square. So his headline's likely to be a card he's picked up. For me, India's not a spectacular war target right now. There's part of me that thinks blockade's the best headline. If I get purged, I end up ditching nuclear test ban instead. I'm going to have a hell of a turn because I end up having to play decol. But I have no other viable way of affecting the board state in the headline phase. So I think I'm going to headline blockade and hope to ditch D-style. And hope I don't get purged. You'd have to get in the reshuffle. But, you know, them's the breaks. So let's do that. We'll headline blockade. No purge, no purge, no purge. Socialist governments. That's a bummer. But I'm robustly protected in Europe. So if this is a gambit to then drop Europe scoring for nothing... Oh, to get NORAD off for free. Very nice. So now, will he drop Europe scoring, or will he take the coup? I think he drops Europe scoring. Very nice. So we know we can get Milops this turn. So we are going to repair Europe, even though it's dropped for nothing. Now, we know that NATO's not going to come into play thanks to the UN intervention gambit, so I do want to take Portugal and Greece to prevent that being flipped. And I want to play Cambridge 5 as late as possible in the turn, obviously. Knowing he's got captured Nazi, I do want to get decol off first. Okay, so a bit of farting around here and there. We'll overprotect France because that makes de Gaulle neatly playable. We want to get off to space and we know we're getting our Milops in. Success, that's great. So we may do another space this turn. This now forces him to space right now if he wants to stop me hitting the 2-0 square. If he's successful, we know he's going to beat me to it thanks to captured Nazi. So what are our objectives? Our objectives are pepper Southeast Asia to deny domination in Asia. Try and seduce him into putting 2 more in India, so I might get a 1 in 3 flip on it. Now that I'm in Thailand, I kind of want to get into Laos, Cambodia before he does, because that makes Thailand a more soft brush war target. He may be thinking, sod this for a lark, and he'll now do a NATO coup on Iran, because that flips domination. But I'm okay keeping DEFCON moderately high for now, because I know I can get my Milops in anyway. So let's see. We know he's holding duck and cover, captured Nazi, NATO, Romania, UN. So he'll be thinking, do I use duck and cover for the ops? I hope he won't, because that's not a great play, giving up 3 VP. Get duck and cover off to space, he'll be thinking, when do I get duck and cover off to space? If I don't do it now, he's going to have another go at space, and I've got captured Nazi. If I fail, I then have to use captured Nazi before he next spaces, yada yada yada. So I think duck and cover and captured Nazi are like the space options. So then he's got NATO, Romania, UN. He'll use UN intervention on NATO because he doesn't want to trigger NATO, or he's giving up on Europe altogether. And knowing it's after the reshuffle, we will bury is going to trigger anyway. It seems to me that Iran's the best option. I'm just going to put the op in Thailand in the hopes of breaking it the turn after, because putting in South Korea with Korean War still in the deck doesn't achieve a lot and doesn't affect domination in Asia. I still want to play Cambridge 5 as late as possible in the turn, in case I can put the wind up him, basically, about whether or not a scoring card is or isn't going to drop. But if I were him, and me having indicated I'm not in a rush to trigger DEFCON, would send duck and cover off to space now. Well, so triggers NATO. That's brilliant. So now I don't need to worry about brush war. And he doesn't get a good result either. That's great for me, because now Italy is super safe. We are going to... We'll pop it in Thailand still. Alright, we'll use nuclear test ban. We're going to level up Asia, at least in terms of presence, and pop back in Panama before getting cooed out of Costa Rica. So that's fine for me. Happy with that. I'll be eventing into Pakistani War in India to get my mill ops. If he does space duck and cover now, I will space de Gaulle, because I really want to get to that 2-0 square before he does. And then we know he's got a bunch of tiddly one-op cards afterwards. I don't think he'll be in a rush to give up the China card. He may be thinking about control in Asia. UN intervention on duck and cover. Yeah, that's good. So he's basically saying I'm not spacing this term and making the most of my ops. I didn't see where he put them because I wasn't paying attention. Algeria, Nigeria, Thailand. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, fine. We're going to space de Gaulle. We don't get there. That's a serious bummer. I would expect to see eventing captured Nazi, even though it's the 66% square. Not in the short term, Bikadan, no. Yeah, so there's the captured Nazi event. I'm firmly of the opinion, do you want to keep your options open? And NATO is well, especially Marshall Plan, then NATO, is a permanent ending of hostility in Europe. He's basically saying Europe is mine for the game. Even the Reformer now doesn't flip it monstrously with blockade out. So yeah, he's resigned Europe, and now we'll look at other areas. So, I'm probably going to event Indo-Pakistani War now, and then finish by cooing on Saharan... Well, if I'm going to coup on Saharan states, do I need to worry about eventing Indo-Pakistani War? Bearing in mind it's 1 in 3. If we've got better use of ops. What if I was to put 2 in India, and then event Indo-Pakistani War? If I can seduce him into using the China card to either flip Pakistan, which becomes a 50-50, or take India, which becomes a sultry 1 in 3 stab with Indo-Pakistani war. So much the better. Saw it before. Right, so unfortunately he was not seduced. But we'll take the 1 in 3 for the Milops, the 2 VP, and the flip of India. Let's be lucky. We're lucky! I would rather be lucky than good. Alright, so we're into mid-war. Let's have a talk about how early war went. Obviously, I'm 9 points ahead of par. Africa is a problem, but I've managed to keep him out of South America. And I've been dealt an absolute peach of an opening hand. Grain sales is always the headline. But I can steal the China card, I could hold defectors till next turn, I can use VOA to clear decks. It's all pretty nice. Basically being quagmired is the worst thing that could happen here, and even that's not a major problem with grain sales. The worst headline he can headline is "We will bury you," which will deny me the coup. So in terms of comments, Yuri the Professional says you think I hand to coup Angola? I had to lose Panama. Okay, it was an option, yeah. Losing Panama's not the end of the world as long as he then doesn't get liberation theology and fill out Central America. And the problem with... Oh, I see what you mean. I could Zaire instead of Angola. You're probably right. Angola's better. The problem with Angola, obviously, is there are so many cards that the USSR has that can affect Angola. Portuguese Empire, South Africa, unrest. So a strong presence in Zaire never hurts me. And if I fill South Africa first, I can then realign Angola anyway. So that's my thinking there, Yuri. Okay. Dan, I'll try and save defectors. If I can't save containment, I can't save containment. And mid-war's usually got a lot of nice headlines anyway. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Yuri. Getting 5 in Angola pretty much means that neither card's particularly useful. So that's probably an oversight by me, picking the wrong African place. But hey, maybe, as long as "We will bury you" isn't headlined here, I'll get a chance to coup Angola now. Yep, you're ahead of me, Yuri. So yeah, good coup in Angola, and those 2 cards are no longer a threat. Spot on. Yeah, that's definitely short-sighted by me. Someone in the comments on the Twilight Struggle Playdeck app, when I mentioned this was on today, said, "Is this guy even worth watching?" And the answer is probably not, but I'm hoping to learn from everyone in the comments. So thanks for that. Let me plug in my hand, and then we'll talk a bit more. But I think grain sales is my headline here. I've got a pretty nice hand. But, you know, it's also worth bearing in mind, if I've got a handful of blue cards, he may well have a handful of red cards. Plus, the power cards are all like that. ABM, Junta, Brush, Missile. So it's not as great as it could be. It's just pretty good. Willy Brandt has shuttle diplomacy as well. Does eventing shuttle diplomacy do anything for me? Shuttle diplomacy, right. So that's my hand. Grain sales has to be the headline anyway, but let's have a quick look. It doesn't flip domination in Asia. It doesn't do a lot in the Middle East, but it's worth considering. Now I've plugged the hand in grain sales. We don't want "We will bury you." Okay, so he's going for extra ops. And I get OAS. Ugh. Bearing in mind CIA's gone, I'm inclined to return this and take the 2-op coup. Because OAS is just going to clog up his hand if he doesn't event it. And obviously I've got Voice of America if he sneaks in with Junta or something. So I'm going to return it. I'm not going to worry about shortening his hand when he's got a 1-op card. It sucks to do that. A lot of the time. He can punt it off to space though, can't he? But I don't want to event it. I want to drop DEFCON. I want to get the Milops. So if he spaces OAS, he spaces OAS. Inshallah. So let's return it and take a coup on Angola. Which, as Yuri has pointed out, I should have done sooner. So now I'm looking for a 4, 5, or 6, and I probably won't get it now as karmic punishment. Oh, I do. There you go. All's well that ends well. So yeah, I expect COS go off to space this turn, but a lot of the turn's tempo is going to be dictated by him. Reason being, I've got VOA to respond. I know I don't have access to South America. I'll try and space Willy Brandt to get to the 2 space first, but he may space OAS right now. Okay, well, that's good. It's rendered Portuguese null and void. So we will event shuttle diplomacy here. Neutering the Middle East. Muslim revolution would be a nasty thing here. But I'm happy finding a way to deny Middle East domination. At least temporarily. Worst case scenario, he's holding Asia scoring as well. He could, of course, use a 3-op card now to flip Lebanon. But again, that's kind of a tempo thing. Yes, well, not a coup war, Dan. Definitely an ops war in Lebanon. It definitely does. Yuri, I'm planning on using... Okay, good, he gets that off to space. Well, it's not good. Will he miss? He does. Okay, so it is good for me. It does encourage an ops war in Lebanon. I think I'll... XYGAN1, please talk about potential future moves. The only thing that's a no-no is anyone visiting both streams and saying, you shouldn't do this because they are holding this card. Like, if someone was to tell me who's holding Junta now, that would be deeply unfair. So do talk about potential future moves. It's the only way I'm going to be any bleeding good. I'm quite happy crowdsourcing a win from this guy. So OS goes off to space and misses. I definitely now overprotect Lebanon to make sure I don't get humped in the Middle East another way. So we'll use... We'll use lads. Pop one in Lebanon. We'll pop one in Panama now to make sure if Central America drops, I've got some presence. So Liberation Theology kind of burns me doing that. I think I would not do voice. I think, wait, what happens? Yeah, I agree, Yuri. I'm going to hold on to voice. Basically, the big reason is if it turns out he juntas or even salts D-style to move into South America, I want to hold voice as late as possible. Certainly. So I'll be trying to space Willy Brandt this turn to get to the 2 square. I'm hoping that Aero will now give up and drop Middle East scoring for 0 instead of Dom. Yeah, perfect. That's a good result for me. Because that's a tempo drop, I've got the option of spacing Willy, but I think I'm going to fill Mexico first to protect against Liberation Theology. My question was whether to voice him out of Africa now, wait until he gets some sort of American access. I definitely agree. Hold Voice of America, because we want to try and clear out South America, whether it's with Allende or Junta. Especially with D-Style in the deck, he'd have to salt it. So yeah, I'm going to hold Voice as long as possible. So I think I'll use How I Learned, because I'm not worried about raising or lowering DEFCON, nor in the headline next turn, to take Mexico before Liberation Theology comes out. I am glad people can hear me in Twitch, because I've stopped typing responses as well as commenting, and it seems that people are acknowledging, so that's a relief. This is literally the first thing I've twitched in the Twilight struggle zone. Submit, 1 op, 2 ops, of course. Okay. It might be worth putting one in Pakistan. to avoid being flipped. We're going to use containment now. We'll put 2 in Costa Rica and put the wind up in Central America. I want to rep some cards to make him think carefully. Nice to take South Africa now and Kusa. Yeah, I agree. I definitely want to do that before the end of the turn. So he's taken the bait on... He's taking the bait on Central America scoring. Yeah, I agree, Dan. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to bluff that I'm holding Central America scoring. Of course, that doesn't work when he is holding it. But so that's been triggered, which is great. I still want to try and space Willy Brandt, so we'll use Nixon here, and we'll finish taking Egypt and put 1 in South Africa. It's looking more and more like I'm going to have to trigger Willy Brandt and coup Saharan states with defectors to end the turn. So I'm not going to get off to space this turn. Is that better than playing Nixon's event? It's nice to nab the China card. Remember, there's Yasuri still in the deck and cultural diplomacy. The usual rule with 2-op your cards, apart from things like Voice of America and Grain Sales, is it's always nicer for your opponent to play it than you. Playing the event costs me an AR, doesn't develop the board presence. Oh well, shut my mouth. What a waste of an op in Egypt, eh? But I still think playing your own 2-op events usually is a bit of a bummer when you can avoid it. Now might be time to play Voice of America to make sure Asia is not dominated and I can just clear out a lot of Africa. It does run the risk of getting stuffed in South America. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, I can't reclaim Asia non-dom here without using VOA. And if I use VOA, then I can also clear out Nigeria and Saharan states, or I could put massive pressure in Thailand. Choices, choices. Let's get Camp David out of my tracker. Oh yeah, tapping North Korea does mean we level up and it's AR7 next. But it does mean we don't get a lot of action in Africa. But we get to hold AR7 for next turn that way. Voice of America for next turn. I agree we ought to do something about Asia. Just in case he's holding Asia scoring. But this has been a battle of bluffs, really, hasn't it? Am I holding Central America scoring? Are you holding it? But yeah. We do want to hold Voice of America as long as possible. So let's tap North Korea. See what he does AR7, and then we can choose to space Willy Brandt or use VOA if something prodigious happens. It's a shame we didn't quite get there in Africa, I agree, Yuri. Setting up the domination going into the next turn is really nice when possible. Okay. So, I feel like, even though it's giving up a VP and splitting West Germany, especially with Truman still in the deck, using... Yeah, no, I agree. XYGAN1, tapping North Korea is cheaper than using VOA and getting it out of my hand. Here I think I'm going to pay the VP and break West Germany, knowing that Truman's still in the deck, and you don't want an ops war in West Germany, to coup on Nigeria. It seems silly to give it up with nuclear subs triggered. So we'll give up the VP, which we get back in Milops anyway, and we'll coup Nigeria. And we're hoping for higher than A1. Ah, wow. Africa is rolling over today. So we want to be dealt Asia scoring to be in control of when it's scored. we don't get it. We get Southeast Asia scoring. But we've got We Will Bury You, so we can afford to headline Missile MV, especially with Duck and Cover gone. Headlining Colonial Rear Guards is quite nice as well. The problem with Missile Envy here is that it seems like on turn 5, whenever I headline Missile Envy, I get Arms Race. So Colonial Rear Guards is good here. Yuri's just pointed out. I can put pressure in. And XY Jan's got it too. So Yuri said I can put pressure with colonels. So I can go Lao, Thailand, plus Africa to get Africa domination, and then XY Jan's got the other bit, which is if I give up the coup to him, I can gnaw it into Thailand and flip it, which is good for Southeast Asia scoring. So yes, Colonial Rear Guards is definitely the headline here. Excellent crowdsourcing. We'll go with that. Getting Quagmired sucks, but I've got some things I can throw in it. Okay, so he's looking to do some damage in Central America, but I will respond with damage of my own. And I'm just going to plug in my hand before I get too much further. AFP, Olympic, Missile MV. I've played Colonial Rear Guards, and I also have Puppet, which is my gateway to South America. So I'll be looking to repair Central America ASAP here. But first of all, Thailand, Laos, Sudan. Does putting one in Burma break Dom? Yes, it does. That's another thing he has to do. So now he's got to decide, do I continue to put pressure on in Central America, or do I do something about repairing Asia, bearing in mind a coup's going to flip Thailand? I may use We Will Bury You for the ops to get out of the deck and to deny the coup and to repair Liberation Theology. There's a bit of me that wants to do that because I can space Muslim Rev. Let's see what his AR1 is. He's basically got the choice of repairing Asia or coupping Central America, but NORAD, playing NORAD earlier in the war has made his decision making a lot tougher. Now I've got puppet governments, I can push into South America, and VOA can do some heavy lifting in Asia if it needs to. 2 in Mexico, 1 in Guat. He does want the coup, so I'll break Thailand. He's going Panama. Oh, he's going Mexico, so he's reinforcing the deal. I'm going to give him... Oh, I don't have... So the only way to flip Thailand is to use Muslim Revolution. What do we think? It has scored. Yeah, so Yuri said if he doesn't coup, use Wheelberry. I agree, I would have done that. That ship has sailed. So the only way to guarantee Thailand here is to use Muslim Revolution, which would also potentially clear me out of Sudan. If he's got Africa scoring, he can use it to clear me out of Sudan and deny domination. So do I instead use Alliance of Progress and force him to use the China card? Is that enough? Is getting the China card off him enough, is the question. Because Muslim Rev, if I were him, I'd clear me out of Sudan if he's holding Africa scoring, and then he gets a free dodge of Africa scoring. Or he could use, he could clear me out of Saudi and Egypt and generally strain my ops there. I feel like using Alliance for Progress is better. It basically forces him to come at me with the China card. And then I can always use Voice of America for maximum damage. Well, that also flips Dom, which makes Muslim Revolution more attractive. But Muslim Revolution does so much damage. We've got a quorum in the comments anyway. Yuri says, take Thai with Alliance, then maybe use Voice if I have to. I agree. It keeps the pressure up. He'll hate using the China card. He's going to have to use the China card here because of the domination risk. But I can play around Laos, Philippines anyway for Southeast Asia scoring and then hit him with Voice of America if I have to. So let's go with that. We're going to dare him to use the China card. So, someone in the comments, XYJan, I never realized Muslim Revolution worked in Sudan. Let me just call the card up so you can read it. It's a lesser known fact, but it's first on the list. So it is handy to know, because you can find yourself suddenly talked out of Africa domination that way. It does look like he wants to score Central America. Yep. 4 or 5 points? 5, because of the adjacent countries. He's telegraphing he wants Central America. Using OPEC for influence. Let me just have a quick look, because I wasn't paying attention. And looking in chat's not going to help. Burma, Laos, Taiwan. Fine, right. So now we're going to overprotect Thailand. And we'll take the Philippines to threaten domination again. We're not necessarily saying we've got Southeast Asia scoring. What we're saying is we're looking to put some pressure on in Asia generally. Whether he uses if he uses the China card to take Japan to level up, that's fine in principle, especially with US-Japan not evented. Yeah, we did have Asia domination, but we didn't have the thing anyway. Use voice 3. Oh, no. So, yes, I was thinking about clearing out Mexico and Guatemala. If he does have Central America scoring now, I do get shafted. So, again, that's a timing issue. And with puppet governments, I don't need to worry as much about South America, you're right. So that is probably the time to use it. I got lucky. Again. See what he does with that. Okay, so he's worried about Asia Dom. You're right, now might be the time to make the most of... so we'll remove the adjacency to Italy. Southeast Asia scoring is going for 2. But I think clearing out Mexico now is probably best. Isn't it? And then if he does junta, we respond with puppet governments ASAP. But that's the timing. Yuri's once again ahead of me. That's how you win a division in Itzel, whereas I just sneak in the playoffs through the second place route. But we'll VOA. Take 2 out of Mexico. The 1 out of Guatemala. And then we're also going to take... what? South Korea, North Korea overprotected... We'll take 1 out of Libya. It scored. But it also puts pressure on... The other option is 1 out of Afghanistan. Could take 1 out of Burma. Yeah, 1 out of Asia does threaten domination. Burma's also good because of Southeast Asia scoring coming. The 1 in Libya doesn't do a great deal, especially as it's scored. So... do that. VOA. Clear out Mexico. Guatemala. We'll take the 1 out of Burma, you're right. It does double duty. Never hurts to poke in Asia. Spoken like an Orientalist. So we'll use Missile Envy at this point to take Mexico. He may just drop Central America scoring for... well, he's going to repair Burma first because he's mostly worried about Asia. Okay, so he's giving us access because he's sweating about Burma. Which is nice. So, with Thailand overprotected, we're going to try and get off to space first. With Muslim Rev. Because we don't need to worry about a hand being short. But we want to get to 2-0 square first. And we miss. That's a bummer. So he'll now have a free space. Or he'll drop Central America scoring. Yeah, John Paul off. Does he get there? He gets it. Fair enough. Can't win them all. We'll drop Southeast America scoring. Southeast Asia scoring, sorry. So Yuri's talking about... So I would say that actually his division was an interesting one. Oh, great. So I get Japan. That's fine. He's hammering India in exchange. So, leaving me with some tough choices here. I would have liked to have got a coup this turn, and I'm unlikely to. So what's our option? We could event Missile Envy here to steal a card from him, knowing that Defcon Suicide's not going to happen. We could event Missile Envy, meaning he's unable to finish taking India this turn. What could I get? Yasuri, Bear Trap, Arsenaut would be a bit of a bummer. He's unlikely to have ABM or any of his high op cards. But now might be a good time to do it. What do you think? He does really think I have Asia, which is fine. So having space, Wheelberry is not an option. Eventing Puppet Governments just creates a few more coup targets for him next turn. Obviously, I know I'm going to be able to event Puppet Governments at some point. This might be a fun time to event Missile Envy. Best case scenario, we get Yasuri, Bear Trap. Bear Trap would be great. Worst case scenario is Arms Race or Cuban Missile Crisis. But he would have invented Arms Race by now. He's already played Summit, thankfully, so don't need to worry about Summit. He played it when he was under Brezhnev. Because I was thinking about Defcon Suicide, and really it was Summit or Duck and Cover, both of which have been played. So a coup on Nicaragua is fine, doesn't get domination. I don't have the ops to then play into Mexico to get dom. And if I event Missile Envy and he does have Central America scoring, he's got to play Missile Envy for 2 ops AR1. And that's less satisfying for him cooing with. So I think I'm going to event Missile Envy. It'll be fun anyway, right? And we're here to have fun. Let's see what happens. What do you got? I'm hoping Bear Trap. In that case, he puts Bear Trap. Oh no, so if he's got Central America scoring, he can't put Missile Envy in the Bear Trap because he has to play a 5-year plan. Oh! Ouch! Well, that's a bummer. That was crazy. Oh well, I didn't make him for Africa scoring. I made him for Central America, so he bluffed well. Well, that was weird. Well, stranger things have happened. Oh, he doesn't need to say thanks anyway, because he would have done it last AR. Okay, so... So he'll put 2 in India. Fine. I think we're eventing puppet governments to spread around South America. Yeah, Yuri, East Europe and Poland were 2 really strange divisions in ITZA, weren't they? Yours was kind of competitive within itself, but you were definitely the best player and deserved to qualify there. Although there's some friendly faces in East Europe, would have been nice to see in the playoffs. And then Poland's mad, as I learned when I met them all last year. Alright, look, we'll event puppet governments. We will put 1 in each of South America and hope we get junta just for good measure, I think. But we want to sow our oats here. We're giving up 2 mil-ops to do so, which is a bit disappointing. And then we got Asia scoring, which is also disappointing. But we got junta and brush war and ABM, which is insane. So again, getting quagmired is pretty much the only bad result here. So I guess the question is, do we put him in the bear trap? Yeah, I know, right? What a crazy hand. So, do we get kitchen as well? Which is live as well. Whew. Kitchen, brush, ABM, brush, ABM, junta, and I got missile envy. Ugh. Sometimes you can't help but be lucky. I'm still holding We Will Bury You. Asia scoring and Arse Not. I'll try and hold Arse Not, so if next turn I get Lone Gunman, I can do something about it. My instincts tell me Bear Trap's a good headline, because if I don't get Quagmired, I can claim Asia domination. Right? And I could even use We Will Bury You to drop Defcon. And then still get a coup with ABM Treaty. And I get NORAD twice by using We Will Bury You. So, yep, Yuri's got it. Alright, let's do Bear Trap, because then if we are Quagmired, at least we can do the Spider-Man finger point meme. Allende! Okay. We are off to the races now. The only way this could get better is if he misses the first trap. And there's only... I mean, the deck's looking very red now. Yasuri, Emit, Special Relationship, and... well, those are the only 3 blue cards that can go in the trap. So let's see how he does. But We Will Bury You to take India and then use the NORAD op to finish off India and get Asia Dom. He may respond by playing in South America, and then we can use ABM to coup him out as well. And then we could use Junta to play into Peru to realign him out of Chile. So we've got some options this turn. Great, yeah, I agree, Yuri. That's what I'm up to. Bear Trap was especially the best headline there. Especially because if I didn't play it and I got Quagmired, I'm in a seriously bad way. He'll still be salivating about getting Quagmire, not least since NORAD's been pulling extra duty for me. Just got brought a tea, which is nice. So AR1, We Will Bury You, convert India. AR2 is dependent on their play, but we can use ABM and Junta to do stuff in South America. We'll try and event Kitchen Debates for the poke in the chest. Ask Not to hold in case we get Lone Gunman AR7. And we've got a free Brush War as well. Couldn't have asked for a much better hand. Just the worst thing that can happen to us is getting Quagmired. Otherwise, we're laughing here. If he misses here, it just gets madder, you're right. I mean, if he doesn't have Yasuri, Emit, or Special Relationship, he's also chagrined. Special Relationship he kind of wants to be spacing, because he's not got access to tap it. But things could turn bad for him. Would have been worse if Africa had scored, but, you know, I can't help playing Meta11ic sometimes. It's one of those cards where just, like, it's just... who knows what will happen, and it's so much fun. Okay, Emit's gone. Might come back in late war, which would be nice. But we're going to event We Will Bury You and give up the 3 VP in the hopes of getting Asia Dom. That gives him food for thought in Asia. And doesn't get him a coup. And we've still got ABM to come. So if he plays into Argentina, we'll take the ABM coup on it. And hope to convert. Although we've got Brush War as well. Which is 2/3. Might be better coup odds than ABM. We'll compare the two. So the deck is stacked red. He's going China card. Wise. So we can either use Cuban Missile Crisis to keep tempo up and hold on to ABM. Because now even a 4-op card, of which only Flower Power and Purge are the ones remaining, keep him under pressure. Although using ABM... No, I mean, I can use ABM because I have Brush War to get my Mill-Ops. And I do want to keep pressure up in Asia. This allows... if I do this, it allows him to either keep Ops Warring in India, or it's a tempo swing, right? He goes, well, I can go off and do something else because Asia's not dominating. So I think using ABM for the disgusting operations points, knowing I hold Brush War and Junta to do a balance later on, is better. Which is what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to look and see if people talk me out of it. that does telegraph I have Asia scoring. Well, thanks to Yuri and Chuck telling me it was nice. Again, I like having fun eventing Meta11ic, and I love eventing ABM for a crazy coup. The reason I thought about holding ABM is that obviously I get another NORAD op doing that. But in doing this makes the ops war in India harder, because you've got to spend the initial 2 to tap it. And it means they keep pressure up, so it's a tempo thing. Yeah, it does put the pressure on him. Yuri's right, it's all about tempo here, and tempo is working against him. Okay, so he says South America instead. So I think now's the time to brush war. 2 out of 3 on Argentina. Get our mill ops. So here we're hoping to be lucky, and we are not lucky. So now he may drop South America scoring for presence. If he does, I drop Asia for domination. I'm still likely to event Junta this turn. 2 into Mexico, coup Nicaragua, because I want to hold Arse Not more than Junta. Because Lone Gunman is still out there. And we're going to have a reshuffle this turn. Yeah, so... Right, so we'll use Cuban Missile Crisis. And we'll take Brazil, Venezuela, and we're going to finally repair West Germany before the reshuffle. So Suez is gone. So it now boils down to what happens tempo-wise. I may have to use Arse Not for ops and then use Junta in the headline next turn, which at least drops Defcon. But if I get stuck with Lone Gunman, I'm cheesed. We'll see if he drops South America scoring here for -1, or if he goes into Chile first. We want to try and get Asia domination off. Okay, that's a great result for us. So I'll drop Asia scoring for Dom here. Before we can do anything about that. I'm inclined to use Junta still. What I'd probably be doing is 2 into Mexico and coup Uruguay. I had flower power, so he did have a chance to ops war in India. It's probably a good thing I didn't. So he over-attacks Brazil. What are we thinking? We can either use Junta to try and refill, or Arse Not. Blech. I hate using Arse Not when we know Lone Gunman is hanging around. I need to have a quick look in the discard pile as well, because there are some cards in the tracker that I think I may have missed. But I haven't. That's good. Job's a good one. Yeah, Yuri's right. I'm for USA. I'm far enough ahead here that I should be more worried about Defcon than getting dominated or running out of trouble in South America. Do we coup Uruguay? Couing Uruguay is nice half to 2/3 of the time. Let's now have a look at realigns in Brazil, because we'll be +2 after Junta is played in there, won't we? So 41, 57, 70% of the time he loses something, and 80-odd% of the time, yes. So I think a realign's the option here, right? Yeah, let's go realign. And if we're lucky, we get a second one. Big swing potential here. Great. We're not going to have another go on Brazil for the 15-odd% of the time I screw myself up. That's 28%. This is even less. Going for the big money, no whammies there. 60% of the time I lose my presence there, which I don't really want. Let's go for the unlikely but high margin Cuba. No. Right, I've got an async game bugging me, but we'll ignore that. So we'll be looking to do a kitchen debates prod in the tummy here. But yeah, Che, Quagmire, Cultural Revolution, U2, Arab-Israeli, Warsaw, South Africa Unrest, Korean War, and Lone Gunman still in the deck. Very red hand. Great reason to hold Arsenal for the next turn. He gets some VPs. I'll take him straight back. I will say poke. And I got Lone Gunman. And grain sales again, which I'll absolutely be headlining. Again, a pretty mad deal for me. So I got Che. Korean War's gone off. Got Che, got Lone Gunman, got Purge. He's holding South America scoring. And Yasuri, which he's going to have to space. He's got Truman. He does have Salt. It's a bit late to be causing trouble with Salt, but it's worth knowing. Oh crap, has he got Quagmire? He does. Ugh! And Cultural Revolution. So that's a bummer. I have been missing some cards because I think I'm saying he's got 10 cards. Dun, 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 dun. I'm so bad at tracking cards, it's hilarious. Special Grain, Portuguese. Oh no, I've got you two rather than him. That's a start. Oh, in that case, I do make him for 9 cards. Yasuri, Quagmire, Cultural Revolution, Arab-Israeli War, Warsaw Pact, South African Unrest, Salt Negotiations, Truman Doctrine, and South America scoring is likely to be his entire hand if I've not missed anything. We do know he's got all those 9 cards, I think. I think we're going grain sales. Yeah, especially as we're 99% certain we're going to get Quagmired here. There it is. Especially because of NORAD, he's got no other option. He'll try and get Truman away cheap, I guess. Oh, I'm pulling Salt. He's only got 3-up cards. He doesn't have 4-up cards, and that's literally the best card to take off him. Maybe besides Cultural Revolution. Knowing he's holding South America scoring, I guess Argentina's the coup, right? Coup on Brazil? So you think... Oh, no, you're right. If we coup on Brazil, we pretty much guarantee he'll be dropping it for 0. If we take the high margin coup on Argentina, we may just get realigned out of Chile and Argentina anyway. So that, especially as we're now looking to manage DEFCON and reduce our chances of crapping the bed. Yeah, anything but a 1. Fine. Okay. Yeah, Yuri's got it. Next time Yuri should play Aero, and I'll comment really badly on his thread. Alright, so we'll ditch Portuguese Empire crumbles first, or if we get... Oh, we're not going to get purged. Okay, so he's going for the Brush War. Venezuela. High margin. Should have gone Venezuela. It missed, so it's lucky for me anyway. If he'd gone Venezuela, he would have then had the chance of... It also means, sorry guys, I was not paying close attention to the reshuffle, because that's not a card I thought he had. Portuguese Empire crumbles... Because we can space Che rather than give up the mill ops. Oh no, we've still got us not to come. Alright, we get out of the trap. Everything is going well for us this game, is it not? Into Chile, yep. Okay. So, what do we want to do? We think he's got Yasuri, Cultural Revolution, Warsaw Pact, South African Unrest, Truma, and South American Doctrine. What could we do? We could tap Argentina and play into Uruguay? That doesn't really do a lot, does it? I think maybe now we just ask not. We keep special relationship because NATO's in. We'll ditch U2 incident just to see what else comes out. So we'll ask not away, Che U2 and Lone Gunman. That sounds good, Yuri. Drop me a line. I don't know if we've played before, actually, so it'd be nice to get a game in. Who knows, we may still meet in the playoffs. I think now is as good a time as any to ditch Lone Gunman and see what we draw, because if we pull scoring cards, it at least dictates our play. So Chow Chow Che, Chow Chow U2, and definitely goodbye Lee Harvey Oswald. We keep the other three. We now get to one small step headline peak as well, which is very nice. So Che, U2, Lone Gunman gone, and we get Missile MV, which we can't play because of DEFCON risks, one small step, which we're definitely going to play, and Alliance for Progress. Alright, with the China card back, it's now time to overprotect. We're going to use... we could always hold Purge to the next turn. We're unlikely to get a coup war going arms race, so we'll overprotect India and Japan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 countries. So he now has to use the China card to flip Malaysia. So we will pop another influence in West Germany to defend against Pershing in late war. Which begs the question, do you want to use a 2-op card instead? We're not going to be using Missile Envy through the rest of the game because of DEFCON risks. So let's save an op, use Missile Envy to do that instead. Keep our ops powder dry. And we've still got Yasuri, which he now needs to space. Oh! Well, I'm glad. I never really track... I didn't know BJ Rocket was you. And I think that sounds fair in terms of the win rate. South America drops for nothing. Now's a good time to one small step, because we know he's going to force a headline peak anyway. Although, I don't know, we don't gain anything doing that, do we? We've currently got 3 VP on the Alliance for Progress, but we should play into Mexico to make it 4. And we've got Special Relationship as well. Let's event Special Relationship. I think we're always going to be okay for non-battlegrounds of Greece and Turkey. The Reformer putting 2 in West Germany breaks domination anyway, so let's just keep loading up West Germany. Why not? The other option was Portugal, but I didn't see a lot of benefit in that. I expect to see him space Yasuri. Yep, there it goes. Now we know we've got one small step at some point. So ahead of South African unrest, let us pop 1 in South Africa, 2 in Mexico, and we may event Alliance for Progress for 4 VP. So I think he's got Warsaw. He's got Warsaw and Truman Doctrine, so he'll be playing Truman this turn. Ahead of Warsaw, because he doesn't want to do anything which results in... And I see event South African unrest. So what if we did something like this with Red Scare? If we do this, he has to use Warsaw Pact or the China card. Oh no, he's only got 1, so he's not holding Truman Doctrine. We need to find out when Truman Doctrine... I thought I defected it turn 2. Or yeah, I did. So when did Warsaw Pact go? Because if he is holding Truman Doctrine, this is quite important. I'm going to have to go back to the turns. Sorry, folks. So when after turn 3 did Warsaw Pact get played, if indeed it did? Nope. Nope. Truman hasn't been removed, right? Nope. Okay, so let's look at turn 4 and 5 and 6. So he's holding one of Warsaw Pact. He's holding one of Warsaw Pact or Truman. There it is. Right, so he's holding Truman. That is relevant. Sorry for the delay. So knowing he holds Truman, I like that, because he now has to give the China card back, and he's lost... yeah, holding Alliance for Progress with extra VP is fine too, rather than purging him next turn. Alright, I like that. Sorry to cogitate there. He now has to use the China card, which I'm satisfied with. Even if it means he's holding Truman to next turn, it's just another dead card in his hand. We will event one small step, because we do not want him to peek at our headline next turn, even if it's not be-all and end-all. But yeah, he's got to give up the China card here, which is good. We'll go back to putting the log where we're at. Bing. Come on. You'll notice I rarely do this. Here we go. Alright. This shows whether or not I've been tracking things right or not, of course. So. Warsaw is still in the pile somewhere. Good to know. It's unlikely he'll play Truman and give up East Germany in the hopes of getting Warsaw Pact later. So I think we stand likely to get the China card back here. Oof. Alright, what's he going to do with one op? He really didn't want to give up the China card, eh? Yeah, one back. Okay, fine. We're going to event one small step. We don't mind an ops war in East Germany. I will just link you the card tracker I use. It's just it's a great one someone built on a website, Beakerdan. davidmcwebsite.net/TS. It programs pretty well. Shuttle diplomacy is a bit buggy, but it's a great way of tracking. Better than pen and paper, I find. We're eventing one small step. We absolutely can't afford to be headline peaked at this point. So, we've got war games, which will end the game as things currently stand. We don't need to worry about Meta11ic. He can Aldrich it from us. But the cards have definitely been in my favour this game. It is undeniably so. And I've got How I Learned, so I can drop DEFCON if he refuses to, or I'll just take the coup. 5-year plan, I got Latin American debt crisis, so you can't do a lot. Aldrich is really the only bad headline here, right? If I get Aldrich, I lose war games and we go to final scoring. Nixon. And my 7th card is East European Unrest, which is absolutely sick, given how Europe currently looks. So, what's our headline? East European Unrest is nice. John Paul is nice. East European Unrest is better once Warsaw Pact's been and gone. North Sea Oil to deny OPEC. OPEC's only worth 2 VPs. I've got Alliance for Progress to keep shuffling up the VP chain. So the options are Alliance for Progress for 4VP, North Sea Oil to deny OPEC, and then stuff that frigs with Europe. But Europe's pretty... you can consider Europe frigged with. Yeah. The Pope is fun. Alliance for Progress is too, with Junta gone? Question mark? Maybe Junta's back. Yeah, Junta is back. Yeah, so Alliance for Progress isn't great, because I could lose 2 VP if they break one and coup the other. So we'll hold Alliance for Progress for now. I do actually have... do I... well, yeah, I mean, if I'm considering giving up on these, I've got 8 action rounds worth of cards. So North Sea Oil to make sure OPEC doesn't drop us below score is a good shout here. Because I'm happy to avenge John Paul and East European unrest in turn. Yep. It's not a problem to lose 2 VPs by Junta, you're right, but it does take me briefly below the War Games limit, and I'd really just like to play that out. So that's why I'm disinclined to play Alliance for Progress. Oh no, but then I get 2 VP back and go back to 7. You're a step ahead of me. I think I'm going to go North Sea Oil, because I feel like I want 8 action rounds this turn. And then, of course, what's going to happen is I get Aldrich, and he takes a card off me, and I don't actually get 8 action rounds. So maybe North Sea Oil's not very good. In which case, how I learned to deny a coup. And immediately drop DEFCON. That's probably the way to do it. Yeah, let's go how I learned. We'll drop DEFCON to 2 depending on what he does. And then we either have a points war fight, or he Aldriches me and takes War Games but doesn't get to do a coup, and I have a surfeit of ops and ways to mess with Europe. And he's just got too much work to do. So the game's likely to either end this turn with War Games or in final scoring. Okay, so no Aldrich. We will drop DEFCON to 2, deny the coup. Hopefully he'll think that's all I'm doing, but he may go off to space first. No, he drops Europe scoring, the game's over. Yeah, so that was really just a testament to getting all of the neutral cards and getting great deal after great deal. Lucky game because of the card, says Yuri. 100% correct. So it looks like Aero's ready to just turn it around. Just doing a bit of negotiation here. Great. Swapping sides is probably the nicest thing to do. Let's start again at 17:42 my time. Alright, we'll get out of this one. Rather than hit rematch and find myself doing the US again, I never really pay attention to. So this is just a friendly game I've got going on with someone, you know, doing a bit of teaching on the go. I won't duck into that because I don't want to do any more than I've advertised their username already on the internet. So I will go choose sides. I am USSR. It's a 90-minute +2 with optionals, and I'm inviting Aero to play the USA. 90 minutes +2 optionals, Aero, me USSR, create game. Okay, so we're going to start again in a few minutes. That's cool. XYGAN1 is going to join Aero for part 2, which is nice. Yeah, thanks a lot for dropping by. I appreciate the comments. It was good to reason stuff. Yuri, stick with me all the way. It's nice to have a believer. And you're not disturbing me. You are literally like a good few seconds ahead of the cogs in my brain turning. So it's nice to have you on board. So yeah, we're reconvening in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to step next door. I'll be literally back at the computer in a minute. So feel free to ask more questions. There goes the tea, and I'll be back in one. Right, back again. We'll be starting in a minute. Thanks for replying to the comments. Helpful to get. Yep, XY GAN. Well, I'm going to get way better thoughts from Aero, probably. But it's nice to start redressing the balance. Cool. Right, let me reset the tracker, because we're on to a new game. Biop still good. Let's just check OBS. Doesn't seem to be freaking out. Still seems to be recording. This is going to be a nice long video. We're already at 1 hour 42 for the stream. And we've got Aero back in the room. So, we don't get a way of getting into France. We'll go 441. But I've not got a bad opening hand. I could UN intervention US-Japan for the opening coup. And I've got socialist governments, so we'll be hitting up with that, and we'll see if we get socialist governmented. But let's start plugging in the hands. Dirk and Curver. Indo-Pac War. Fidel, Comic-Con. Sokov, which I'm going to headline. Alright, so we'll probably get defected. Getting purged also, potentially. That would suck. But we've got to headline socialist governments. It gets defected. The first opening dance moves are the same as always. So the question now is, do we coup Italy? We're not going to get another chance to do it. Or do we go to town on Iran? I would be more likely to go to town on Iran if I was also holding Suez or Arab-Israeli war, which I am not. So I'll roll the dice on the opening coup of Italy, not having another chance to do so. And I don't do well enough. But it was worth a try. I can live with that. And obviously if he doesn't coup, I could always duck and cover coup next AR. Although I'll be giving up VP to do it. So if, for example, he plays into Pakistan, I may have a speculative duck and cover coup on Pakistan. Containment AR6, rest for ops. Although, of course, I could event duck and cover coup Iran and event Indo-Pakistani war for an ideally 50-50 flip on Pakistan. Another option. So let's see what he does before we decide further. So, what are we likely to see here? Filling France, playing into Pakistan, the old one-op into Malaysia. If he's feeling like he's ops rich, one into Costa Rica. If he doesn't fill France, an option is to use Comicon to tap Turkey, tap West Germany, and play into Afghanistan to threaten in a couple of places. But we'll see. I think our response is predicated on his. But certainly denying a coup is nice. In holding Indo-Pakistani war, we know we're more or less certain to get all our mill-ops in early war, which is nice. So let's see. He's making a plan. Yeah, with the failed coup on Italy, I'm behind in Europe basically. So tapping West Germany at least has the potential of threatening France, although of course I'm unlikely to get further, and having lost socialist governments, I'm not likely to be able to tap Italy either. But I say he goes straight in with de Gaulle. So what are our options here? We could event duck and cover and coup on Iran. And let's see what we need to do there. We need to roll a 3 or higher. We're ceding Europe, but we have the option of tapping it. By doing that, we're giving up on spacing it this turn. But we do at least deny them mill-ops. Let's give it a go. Brilliant. No regrets. Yeah, thanks, Yuri. This time, I did it without checking with you first. But it's nice to have a good Jiminy Cricket on my shoulder. So we're basically saying, all right, fine, France is a bit of a no-go. But we can tap on Italy and West Germany and stuff to start to cause a bit of trouble. Yeah, so he's basically saying, do you have the stones to threaten France? Let's start an ops war in the Middle East. We'll also move into Pakistan at some point as well, but we've got a bit of time to do that. So he goes off to space. Can't be helped. We will pop 2 in South Korea, knowing that we hold Indo-Pakistani war. So with defectors gone, we've got a bit more flexibility in the headline. An AR6. So I suspect what I'm likely to do is finish taking South Korea and then use containment to take Saudi. And just put some pressure on in the Middle East. Except Europe is not great right now. Spacing Suez, of course. Very good. He's racing away. But we'll finish taking South Korea. And then we're going to use containment to... We could take Afghanistan and put one in Saudi. It's just we have a lot of sassy combinations in the Middle East if he doesn't play into Libya. So actually that's a disincentive to play into Saudi. Well, no, it's an advantage to play into Saudi. He won't necessarily go straight into Libya, and we could event Nasser and score a presenceless Middle East. Yeah, there's lots of things to do, isn't there? There always is. We get D-Style back in the deck as well, which is a great result. He got another nasty deal here. So he's played into Libya. So there's part of me that thinks if we press the Middle East, he can't do a lot to immediately. He has to flip Lebanon. But that effectively seeds Europe. Or we do some playing into Asia, but we'll have a chance to do that. And we may get Vietnam revolts or decol, bearing in mind that defectors is gone. Taking Portugal, Yuri is a goodish shout, but obviously it's still a longer term play with France and Canada and the adjacency to Greece so easy to do. I think what I'm going to do is lean on the Middle East, hope he doesn't respond in Libya, and then I might be able to get a presenceless Middle East scoring off if I headline Nasser, potentially. We'll see. He may now space Nasser, because I've containment id. If he spaces decol, I'm particularly gutted, but there we go. Lots of options. He is holding decol, you think? Yeah, he could well be. But he would have known he has to space it, so he got lucky spacing it. Spacing Suez before decol. It's unlikely he's holding decol because of how the turn went, I guess. We'll see. So yeah, it would be nice to get Vietnam revolts next turn, although we'd then be giving up a coup with duck and cover gone. Nasser's definitely a potential. He may choose to space it now, if he's got it. But there's a lot of cards it could be. Yeah, it's Nasser. Oh, he plays it for influence. Okay. Finishes taking Europe, moves into Libya as well. So, Europe's problematic. And I didn't get Europe scoring. But I do get the Cambridge 5. Which looks like the headline here, above Purge. I think Cambridge 5 and try and flip Italy if he doesn't headline Europe scoring. With 3 scoring cards out as well, Cambridge 5 is attractive. Europe scoring? Asia scoring. Do I get lucky? Yes, I do. Okay, well it looks like I'm giving up a coup. But it's a good situation to be in. So I play Cambridge 5. Asia scoring drops. Europe scoring in their hand. I am holding Purge and Nuclear Test Ban. I'm probably spacing NORAD based on how useful it was last game. Formosa Olympic. Independent Reds. Five-year plan. I could always play AR 6 and ditch Independent Reds on. So, what do we think? Flip Italy and make the coup on Iran harder to deny access to Pakistan? Yeah, let's do that. And if he drops Europe scoring for 1 here... Yeah, Beaker, you're spot on. If he instantly scores Europe for -1, I get the coup anyway. But he may not knowing that if he coups Iran and flips it, I have to respond by moving into Afghanistan, etc. Although Asia scored, you're right. So a lot of variables. We know Middle East isn't scoring this turn, so we can afford to be circumspect. And we can have an ops war in Europe if he doesn't take Portugal immediately. Yuri, your suggestion of moving into Portugal now seems unerringly prescient, because if I already held that, Europe would be a major crisis for the USSR and the USA instead of an irritant to be dealt with promptly. But NORAD's definitely our space card, because he'll be playing into Canada to try and deny domination in the medium to long term anyway. May event Marshall Plan here, for all we know, which puts a pin in it, but we'll be overprotecting Italy to guard against Truman before the turn is out. Remind me to do that if I do not remind myself. But we're currently giving Aero all the tough decisions and keeping the moderately easier decisions for ourselves, which is nice. CIA still not... Okay, so he drops Europe scoring. So we will indeed take the coup on Libya, which is not quite good enough. But he's also unlikely to be able to deal with there and Egypt, with Sadat still to come out. So Middle East domination's looking sturdier. And he's got to use a 3-up card to take either Libya or Egypt. So we will see. So he's just starting an ops war. Ooh, bold. We'll take both of those. I'm greedy. And then the question is, do we get into Israel for control first? Not sure I was... Yeah, I'm not sure I'm set on Jordan being taken, unless he's looking to flip Lebanon. But I can then just take Syria. He got CIA, that's a bummer for him. Alright, well look, let's run it up the flagpole with Asia having scored. Let's see if we can... Although I do need to remember to overprotect Italy. I'm getting carried away with myself in the Middle East. Why not Panama? You're right, it was another option before he moved into Costa Rica. I think I was just looking to consolidate Middle East domination. So if I don't coup Libya, he converts Egypt, and then he can move into Israel while it's 1-0 to try and deny Middle East domination. So I'm focusing on the regions that are not scored. If Middle East scoring had already been and gone, I'd absolutely have couped Panama. But I feel like I want to make sure I make the best of the early war and start the steamroller going. And I may even get to coup Panama turn 3 or 4, depending on how the game pans out. I think those 2 ops in Israel are now wasted ops. Looking at the rest of my hand, if I've got a space NORAD, play Formosa, well, play 5-year plan to play Formosa. I guess the question is, there's nothing I want a 5-year plan. All the scoring cards are neutral or better for me. So space NORAD and then 5-year plan, overprotect Italy, and pop some more in Israel for good measure. Okay, well, it's nice that Independent Reds came out after. He'll take Thailand. Yeah, fine. So we'll space NORAD. Yeah, Israel is very expensive. Overprotecting Italy. Yes, thank you for the reminder. I absolutely have to do. I'm first going to space NORAD. I'd like to get off to space. I want to get out my hand. Don't want to do that on AR6. Oh, good, we get there. So Marshall, NATO, Truman in the US pile. Well, there's still cards in his hand as well. Middle East scoring's the only neutral card, and then we've got Arab, Israeli, Warsaw, Vietnam, Korea, Decol, and NASA. NASA's been, and De Gaulle's been. I've not been keeping on top of things. There we go. So we'll finish by AR6 ditching Formosa with 5-year plan. Okay, he's tapping early. Tap early, tap often. Oh, that goes well for me also. We're gonna do it. And 1 into Algeria, as Yuri suggests, rather than faff around with Israel. Or, alright, this is unusually risk averse, but we're going to put 1 in Syria, because if he breaks Lebanon, I then don't have a means of domination in the headline. That seems unusually risk averse, but again, the steamroller is running. We're at -6 going into turn 3 with Middle East still to score. And I want to secure domination in the Middle East above all else. So only Marshall Plan or NATO breaks Italy AR6. And I might still have the riposte of socialist governments if he does that. Yeah, Vietnam revolts next term is definitely great. Or a decal headline, although that would waive a coup. Oh, great. Well, Truman doesn't come off, and it's nice to see it rid. And, you know, getting NATO before Marshall Plan or Vietnam revolts triggers is good. Warsaw Pact, sorry. No, he gets NATO and Warsaw. But I do at least have UN intervention to use on something. And I can 5-year plan Truman. So again, that's a good hand for me. Let's plug it all in. I got Marshall. He got NATO. He got Middle East scoring, right? Yep, so he has to choose when to play that. He did get decol, so he's happy about that. I got Arab-Israeli war. He got Warsaw. Did I get Vietnam revolts? I didn't. Okay, so yeah, the red cards are a bit of a bummer. He got Vietnam and decol. But he got Middle East scoring, which is going to clog up his hand a while, and he has to choose when to ditch it. Yeah, Purge is nice, and I've definitely got a surfeit of ops. And even it getting defected isn't the end of the world for me. That was not what I wanted to do. Sorry, I just frigged up the hand tracker. So let's go back. He was holding Warsaw, Vietnam, and decol. Middle East scoring. And NATO. And I've got... Oh, no, I've got Warsaw. What the hell am I talking about? UN intervention, US-Japan. 5-year plan and Truman. Didn't get CIA, which is nice. Well, so I'm winning the early war. But I didn't expand into any of the mid-war regions. So that's the downside. The only other good headline is a 1 in 3 attempt on Israel. But that's powerfully lame, given it doesn't secure me anything other than mil-ops. So I agree. Getting defected is a bummer, and I've effectively wasted 2 ops, but it's a great time to be purging. Especially, you are correct, everyone, knowing he holds Vietnam revolts and decol. That's powerfully good for me. So yes, we'll purge here. No defectors. Yeah, he just ditches Middle East scoring. And now he's in a bad way. Because he's going to have to play one of Vietnam revolts or decol. So now it's time for that coup on Panama. Nespa. We'll use UN intervention. Of course, we won't be using a 5-year plan on Truman, because after having used UN intervention on Japan, we'll use Truman as 1 op. Great. So the only way he's getting mill-ops this turn is through Indo-Pakistani War if he was dealt it in the reshuffle. And he's only going off to space based on known cards if he spaces NATO, or a red card he's picked up in the redeal. Oh, what a smeghead. Sorry, I was thinking of using you an interventional Marshall Plan. I guess I'm spacing Marshall Plan now. 2-op Comic-Con, he's moving to Algeria. That was wise. Lock that door before it bolts. So with Independent Reds having gone and Truman still to come out, that's obviously right. So I'm spacing Marshall Plan. And I get there. So now I'm inclined to try and space 5-year plan with nothing to ditch, because getting to that 2-0 slot ahead of him really damages his prospects. So he'll be looking to space here to contain the damage. Yep, if he misses, I'm happy. He misses. Okay, so we're probably going in -15, which is way ahead of par. Shame to see D-Style come back in the reshuffle after it being blockaded out straight back into his hand, but beggars can't be choosers. So, what do we like? What do we like? Eventing Truman Doctrine, eventually, I suppose we... Let's continue to shore up Europe against brush war as much as anything. Yeah, let's do that. This is Aero saying it's not going well. He's got it, but of course I didn't play in. But that's a 4 VP swing away from me. So let's now play in, and then we'll take India as well. So of the 4 remaining cards, I think he holds NATO. Oh, ouch. Woo. So that was the unknown card. He's holding Vietnam Revolts, Decol, and NATO. And he's going to have to play one of them before the end of the turn. So that'll be Vietnam Revolts. Now's the time to play Truman. And we'll just keep shuffling up in Asia. I'm not going to play into Costa Rica because really only brush war is the thing that screws me there. There was no rush to move into Western Asia, Dan, because of Indo-Pakistani War being the risk. Now's the time to do it, having seen it. So he'll splash around Southeast Asia to deny domination for access, and he's moving to Africa because he knows that he needs to score that ahead of me. We'll use 5-year plan, obviously with nothing to ditch. And we'll take Burma ahead of India, knowing that he can't splash there, and knowing that Vietnam's going to pop in this term as well. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That way round. So Vietnam Revolts is likely to drop here. And we're looking to avoid... If we avoid Africa scoring, even OPEC finishes it for us, as well as Asia scoring. Central America puts us most of the way there. And obviously space maintains a race. But yeah, playing into Western Asia after seeing Indo-Pakistani War was ideal. Because the worst case scenario is they flip Pakistan and get access to an area they shouldn't have access. So what we're looking for is OPEC / Asia scoring / Central America scoring, and then getting off to space ahead. They do well putting their one in Saharan states for domination, really. It's an extra VP, but it's not presence as domination. Let's see what we get in the shuffle. We get Central America scoring, which is close to a game ender. What else do we like? Portuguese Empire crumbles, followed by a coup on Zaire, followed by playing into Costa Rica. Or no, we might just take Panama as is. We've got Brushall, which is nice. Alright, look. Let's plug my hands in before I do anything else. Add the mid-war cards. I've got Portuguese. I've got Central America scoring. I've got Muslim, Rev, and Nuclear Test Bam. So that, lads. East European Unrest and Brush War. And Summit. Good old Summit. Summit with a 3 modifier for 2 VP. Yeah, so Portuguese Empire and then follow coup is the safe play. Summit with the 3-op modifier risks DEFCON suicide, obviously. You're assuming his headline grain sales. Yeah. I mean, it's a classic turn 4. Summit's too risky, obviously, because I don't want to... At minus 16, the last thing I want to do is blow your wad and set fire to the world. So, yeah. Portuguese Empire crumbles. Would Summit have been good? In the trap. So Summit would have started something I couldn't finish. Lads first? Or Eastern European Unrest? Lads. And I'm out. One and done. So, he'll get the coup. Oh, he's going influence instead. Malaysia, oh, he's got Southeast Asia scoring. So do we take the 5 or 6 brush war on Thailand? Or do we continue to play it safe? I think we just continue to play it safe, right? We don't necessarily need to race to 20 here. He's going to get 4 back. So our options are we can 5 or 6 brush war Thailand, which makes Southeast Asia scoring neutral. But he'll get a coup off anyway. Yeah. Quit fanning around and take a coup is the advice, and it's good advice. We'll coup Zaire. Will we coup Zaire? Yeah, we will, because we don't want to get spear realigned in Angola. We just about get there. I expect he'll drop Southeast Asia scoring here. Yep. Yeah, I'm going with the 4-op card because I don't want to use East European. I also want to try and space it, really. We'll drop Central America scoring before he plays into Mexico. And then we're looking to shore up Algeria with Summit and space Eastern European Unrest. Oh, ouch. Too slow by me. Let's go off to space. Oh, darn it. Okay, timing a bit rushed here by me, but there we go. So Asia's gone. East European Unrest gone. So he's still holding decol, which will be his space attempt. Here it comes. Please miss. Yeah, great. We'll use Summit to overprotect Angola. He will move into South America. South Africa, sorry. Mr. Trick. Well, I don't know, Mr. Trick not playing into India. It would have just been 1 VP, wouldn't it? Yeah. Oof. Gets his Milops. Gives up a whole load of Central America, which has scored, of course. Attack the unscored regions. Now he's scored his Milops. Let's pressure South Africa. Yeah. So, keeping the pressure on. He wants to see what I'm doing first. One out of Israel for control as well, although it's scored. He'll break Botswana and put one in South Africa, I guess. That's best. I'm inclined to hold Brushwater next term, use Sadat and give up Egypt. I know that that's bad for OPEC, but it's still scoring 4. But it keeps pressure up in South Africa. Oh no, repairs the damage. In which case, we'll just use Brush War to take South Africa outright. And get it out my hand, in case it gets missile invid. ABM for ops last game, Brush War for ops this game. Probably playing wrong. So what are we looking for now? We're looking to make sure that South Africa doesn't score for the US. And that Africa does. Otherwise, there's not a lot of scoring cards that can still come out. We will bury you if there's a safe way to play it. Again, the 2VP in space is going to be the major factor. Yeah, arms race is not scoring for me. So, he was not purged that turn, was he? So, let's just see. So I missed exactly. 1 in Sahara, yes, okay. Asking about Nigeria. That is a blue hand. Special relationship safe. Cambridge 5 or Brezhnev are the obvious headlines. Cambridge 5 is better because if he doesn't headline Africa scoring, I can play into Nigeria if he has it. And it gives me access to South America if he's holding that. So I think Cambridge over Brezhnev. Although Brezhnev gives me the advantage of spacing one of these, I'm less concerned about that, I think. So let's go Cambridge 5. He's going to steal a card. He'll coup with it, so that's a clean one. Brezhnev is probably better, Yuri, but I'm greedy. And I can afford to be greedy, because he's got Africa scoring. Youch. That is a bummer for him. So I will overprotect with said Brezhnev card. And he's got a coup on Botswana. Pretty incredible, Yuri. Pretty incredible. Cambridge 5 has done all the heavy lifting this game. And I, of course, need to not play. Yeah, so coup Botswana. Succeeds. Not bad. But I will play into Sudan. With Sadat. See. Oh, God. I'm not tracking the cards properly here. Whoop! Lot going on. Turn 5. OG was the first. And he's used grain sales on me. Yeah, so lots of coups. Lots and lots and lots of coups. Do we use Yasuri? Yeah, let's use Yasuri and give it... Oh, no, wait. We'll use the China card and then use Yasuri. Because we're at that point in the game where I can just try and race. And I want to try and get off to space as well. What are we at? 4 versus 7. So he's got to coup twice. So let's now space colonial rearguards. That's another 2 VP. Everything has gone right for me today. What a day to be streaming. Scoring still ends the game. If I coup here, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then he can puppet government. So the only card we don't want to play is Arsenal, right? So let's puppet government, coup, Saharan states. He'll put a load of stuff into Africa, but it won't matter. And we're just looking to end the game, right? Because we know he's going to get to AR7 soon. He's got 3 more cards, one of which is Africa scoring. We'll use Usuri last. You may have South America scoring as well. One, two, three, four, five, six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so we'll use Usuri to coup Southeast African states for domination. Let him pump loads of ops into Asia. This could backfire badly. So if he scores South America as well. Oh no, he's not. He's not. He's just hoping to last another turn, which is not going to happen. Because I Cambridge 5, don't know what he has. So AR7 we use OAS, and the jig is pretty much up. I've been able to kind of destroy my presence in Asia by dint of knowing exactly what he's holding. That scores nothing. We go on Cameroon for a lock. So that's that. Dies by scoring card rather than playing it. I'd break 1800, which is rather unjust. Yeah, so very lopsided games. But thanks for watching. Special thanks, of course, to Yuri, who stuck with it. I'm grateful to all the people who commented in chat. So Bikadan, XYGAN1, thank you. And yes, you who were in first, Chop Chuck, I appreciate you coming by as well. So thanks to those who commented, it's much appreciated. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you think it's worth doing again. Yuri's offered a game. Negotiating with Yuri about whether or not we get a game in tomorrow. I think today's a bit much. Headlining Europe Scoring is the only way out in early war. Me and Arrow do still go. Tell you what, I'm going to cut recording for the YouTube crowd. I'll talk a bit more on Twitch with Yuri, and it looks like we might get a game in tomorrow as well. So I will stop recording here. Thank you for watching. 2.5 hours of glory. Doesn't always go that way. And I'll probably see you tomorrow for a game with Yuri. So I'll stop recording here.